Welcome to Soltron. This is the video review for Super 10 Wing Lion. I'm actually going to film this backwards, because you know I usually like to start in the combined modes, but oh well. I had to restart this video, so this is where we're at. So this is what he looks like. Actually, I'll put him on the turntable. All right, so here's a 360 of his combined, what is this, Griffin mode. And I think that's pretty excellent looking. Some things could be better. It would be nice if the wings were like a little bit closer to his body and this eagle head wasn't just clearly visible. But I actually might have a fix for that, which we're going to do during the video. But I think it's cool. He can actually hold this sword in his teeth. So yeah, he looks pretty epic. I'm really a fan of the way this guy came out. So yeah, maybe like a 9. No, like an 8. He's a little gangly looking. His proportions are a little weird, but still very impressive. I think the size of it also really helps with how epic looking this guy is. While we're on the subject of size, this is how he looks with like Leo Convoy, the Voyager. So you can see he really dwarfs him. He's just got so much more mass. And then compared to like a deluxe car, yeah, he definitely looks like he could do a lot of damage. Okay, and here's the box he came in, your typical Korean box with like the silver background. And then you get like really cool artwork of him on the back and then bonus sword or whatever. Instruction sheet, probably exactly what you would expect from these kinds of figures. Let's go over the articulation in this mode. The eagle actually has really good articulation. So the wings are on this pivot joint so they can fold forward, back. So you can get some good action poses out of that. The head of the lion has almost no articulation. It can go down a little bit, which I guess is useful if you want him to look sad or intimidating, whatever. And then the wings can also rotate down, so he can be like resting. And then it's got these joints too, which can like fold around the body a little bit and just compress. So that's pretty cool. And then the legs, actually let's go to the tail. The tail of the lion can swish back and forth, which is a nice little extra they put in. And then he can get his claws all the way forward, so you can get like a slashing attack. And then all the way backwards on these nice, actually maybe these are not spring ratchets. They sound good. And then you get soft ratchets for outward motion. You get rotation here, so you can get like a more spread look. You can get these can also rotate if that's useful for some reason. You can also get like a little bit of an elbow, but it's only going to go about 45 degrees. And then you get a good amount of this pad, which is also on a ratchet. So you can get a lot of good articulation out of this guy. His hind legs can like do this and collapse, kind of what you would expect from a robot who's just crouching basically, and you can get this going. He's also got these weird ankle tilts that go this way. I don't know why you would ever want to do that, but he can for some reason. You can also get some outward motion, so he can just have like a full-on spread, so he's like in attack mode, which makes him look a little more intimidating, which I really like that. These aren't going to be flush, but you can get, because the ankle tilts, you can kind of get the back legs to be flush. So you can get some pretty intimidating poses out of him. So actually not too bad. Of course, his proportions are weird. His arms and legs are very long, of course. But I think I can actually fix that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually disassemble this. And you get your base lion mode, which is not too bad. He's a little flat looking, like he's very skinny over here, but oh well. I think the problem I'm having is that this head doesn't hinge up enough because of this white plastic here. And this plastic is actually pretty easy to carve, so I'm just going to trim that out real fast. Okay, I carved out this plastic. So now his head can raise a little bit higher. We'll see if this was a disaster or not. So I think that actually Looks a little bit better, even though it probably makes his legs look even longer, which is unfortunate. But I think this is a better look. And then we go ahead and get his eagle pegged in back here. And now you can see his mane nicely covers up the eagle head. Because his head is raised, there's a little bit less, like this chunk of his back is not as high as it was. Like if we can do a comparison, like this is where his original position was, and you can see the eagle head was visible. And then you can see it just makes it look like he has got a huge hunch in his back. But then with this mod, I might have to like hollow out some space for the eagle beak to fit, but this mod, he can get his head up here, and that covers up the eagle head pretty nicely. And I think makes him look a little bit more alert, right? I think that's pretty good mod. Yeah, I think I definitely need to carve out some plastic so the eagle face can fit just behind the lion head, like this space you don't really see. But yeah, I think that's an improvement. And then I forgot to say he has opening and closing mouth, obviously. All right, and then let's go on to his separate modes. So we got this really chunky, fat eagle, and then I think having his legs out doesn't really help his look. It just makes him look more chunky. Yeah, he just has a very egg-shaped body, which is very weird, but I guess it's for his shoulder pads. But he can actually kind of like stand up, and then he can have his head pointed down. And then you can have his wings like folded up more or less. Yeah, I guess like that. So you can have him like in a perched resting pose, which is kind of cool. And then the lion, how he looks with the mod, I think that's an improvement compared to how he looked like this. More like a frog. I think having his head up looks a lot better. All right, so let's go ahead and get these guys ready for robot mode. So you're just going to straighten out the legs here. You're going to rotate these heels out, pull off his tail, get the other heel out. And then they do a kind of cool thing here where all these panels open up into like skirts for the robot mode, which is a nice little touch. You're going to rotate these out, rotate this all the way around so the screw holes aren't visible, and then rotate the biceps, rotate the lion claws back, and just reveal the fists. Do the same on the other side. And then you're going to, oh yeah, one other thing is you're going to lower this fake jaw, and then you're going to lower the lion head all the way down, take out the pentex. You got to rotate this around, and then you're going to hide the real jaw and then put the pentex back in. And then this is going to peg into place, so it looks like the lion's mouth is just really wide open now, which is not a bad look. And then finally, you're going to yank out the robot head. You got to use your nail and just pull it out. Nothing special. And you get this really creepy looking Slender Man kind of face. And there you have the robot body. And that's kind of cool. I like the idea that he has like this eagle buddy. It'd be cool if you could perch on his shoulder maybe. But he's got like this eagle companion, and you got just this generic looking robot. And then the eagle like transforms. So you're going to fold up the legs, pull out his tail, and then you're going to pull down, actually separate. This is all tabbed into the wings, so you need to unclip that and then unclip these, and then you just pull straight down to extend these shoulder pads armatures. And then you're going to lower the eagle head like this, and then finally you're just going to plop this down onto the robot head. And then he's got these clips in the back which clip into his back to make him nice and secure, and then just lower his shoulder pads. And then you got these cool, you can have like the wings spread out, or generally you just close up the wings into a really cool flowing cape behind him. And then you get this awesome looking mode, which just, wow, what a great looking robot. For articulation though, you are going to lose some points on articulation. He does not have head rotation because of how the cape and the shoulder pads and everything are connected. The shoulder pads are on ball joints, so they can move out of the way no matter what poses he does. You get 360 on soft ratchets there. You get full outward motion even all the way up. You get bicep swivel. You get an elbow joint, but it's really less than 45 degrees. You don't have any wrist swivel. You do have finger articulation, and you can pivot the wrist, which is actually useful for holding the swords. No waist articulation, not too surprising. And then you do get full outward kick, full forward, full backward if the cape will let you. You can these wings can fold back so you can get that clearance. And then you get this ridiculous knee joint, which is basically 180. And then you get these ankle pivots, which is kind of a problem. Like it pivots one click this way and then 2 clicks this way, which you would never use. I have no idea. Sometimes I just want to talk to the designers and be like, yeah, what were you thinking here? Like, what? This isn't useful in beast mode either. It's just not useful. But you can, I actually carved out the plastic on this one earlier. So this one actually now has 2 clicks of articulation. So you can actually see it's hinged correctly. And this one is it just won't let you do that unless you clear out some plastic. And that way you can get a full A stance and his feet can be resting on the floor, as opposed to this one won't do it. And then he does have thigh rotation on a soft ratchet. So for his accessories, you're going to have this sword, which is made out of the eagle tail and the lion tail. So very creative. You clip those together and now you have a combined tail weapon with like a lion's face on it. And really, I really love this gold plastic, even though it might look kind of cheap or whatever. I think it's a pretty good gold. And then you open up his fist and you can just pop that right in his hands. And the reason the shaft is so long is because he can actually, because he has, I forgot to say, he has butterfly joints too, which go fully forward and backwards. Because of these butterfly joints, he can actually two-hand his sword. So really good job on the designers for that, to give you that option. Like, robots can rarely do that, much less a huge kid's toy like this guy. And then because the shoulder pads are on ball joints, you can kind of get them in a natural looking pose. And then you get cool two-hand. He doesn't want to stand up because his other foot doesn't pivot correctly. But you get this cool two-hand pose, which just looks awesome. So cool. And then of course he can like do it over his head too. He can just, so he can do like a two-hand upward slash. Just really good job on this. Comes with this other sword, which I guess is the combined mode of all 10 Pentexes. Gives him like this magical dollar store toy. Like this sword feels very cheap. It's very thin. I could easily see this thing breaking if you're not careful with it, even though it looks very cool with its vacuum gold, but it definitely does have that cheap dollar store feel to it. And you can get both swords in his hand, and then you can like open up his wings to give him like his Dark Souls mode, which looks pretty epic, I have to say. All right, and then we get the 360 view of this guy. He's like rocking a little bit because of those ankle tilts, but yeah, he looks really good. I would say this guy is probably a solid 9 for me. I think my only complaint really is that his legs are a little bit short. His articulation could be a little bit better. Like if he had wrist swivels, that would help with his sword poses, but you can see he still gets good sword poses even without them, and even with his 45-degree elbows. But yeah, just what an awesome looking robot. And then finally, here's his size comparison. So you can see he just blows the Voyagers out of the water. He's just a massive figure. Well worth the money. The quality in this guy, I would say, is a 10. He just feels good. This is like a kind of, it's like a third kind of plastic. It's not like this plastic. It's not like this brittle, like hard plastic. It's like a plastic that's got a little softness to it. You could carve with a hobby knife pretty easily. But this is a kind of plastic where if you drop it, it's got some flexibility to it. It's probably not going to break. So, yeah, I think this guy's a 10 for quality. He feels really good. He's simple. The fun factor is just like a 10. He's just easy to play with, easy to pick up and transform when you're just bored or not even really thinking about it. You can get him in cool poses. He's got amazing shelf presence. He just looks so cool. I got this guy on Gmarket for $60. I've seen him on eBay for about 80, and I think that's actually a good deal too. This guy's definitely worth the $80. If you're on the fence about him, I highly recommend it. It's really good. Anyway, chat with me in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.